Hello, my horror-loving dudes. I'm KillJoy Jake, and today we're going to be talking about The Pope's Exorcist, a film directed by Julius Avery starring Russell Crowe as Father Gabriel Amorth. Now let's get into the review.
Well, sometimes that is better.
Getting into a non-spoiler review of The Pope's Exorcist, overall, it's fine. It's like a 5 out of 10. It has some really standout stellar moments, especially from Russell Crowe, but then there's some other stuff where I'm like, okay, you're clearly just ripping off The Exorcist here. My big issue with exorcism movies lately is that they've all just kind of been the same. It's been, once again, just more gray sludge, the same old every time I see these movies, and this just kind of falls into that same category. I will say it is better than most of those films I have seen recently, like Pray for the Devil from last year is the epitome of that gray sludge I was talking about a second ago. This stands a little bit above that, I will say. That is entirely because of Russell Crowe's performance in this movie, making this one actually have some really big standout moments. There's an injection of humor every now and then, which is nice. Sometimes it's unintentional though, which is not so nice. And although this movie is based on a true story, it's kind of to its detriment at certain points. There are entire plot elements about this film that don't really make a whole lot of sense, things that don't get resolved, and I just don't love that, even if it is based on a true story. I'm that jerk that says, hey, you know what? Embellish some stuff. Sometimes that's better. The Pope's Exorcist has a few moments that are very clearly embellished that never happened. And those are the best parts of the movie, like the ending of the film, which I won't spoil. But I don't know. There's some things about this movie that they definitely stuck a little too close to that original story, and I wish they would have embellished some things, making it a little more interesting. Maybe giving us a satisfying conclusion to the main storyline happening to our main characters, which we did not get in this film. Is that a spoiler or an opinion? I don't really know. Overall, though, this movie's fine. If you want to go see it in the theaters because you love Russell Crowe, I understand. Go check it out. You'll probably really like it, but I'm kind of in the middle on it. All right, we're getting into spoilers. If you want to see this bad boy, watch no further. But I do appreciate your support, you cutie. So like I said, Pope's Exorcist, it gets a 5 out of 10. It's a little better than those typical exorcism movies we've been getting, but not by much. The best part of this movie is absolutely Russell Crowe, who is giving a 10 out of 10 performance here. Maybe about 15 minutes into the movie, there's this sequence where he's getting yelled at by like archbishops and just higher up people in the church. I don't know any of that. Don't ask me for that kind of logistical crap. But Russell Crowe has this back and forth with them where, honest to God, it's the very best part of the movie. That is some stellar acting, killer script writing. Loved that entire scene overall. That was fantastic. Some not so great script writing though is everything with the family, which does not even matter to the story whatsoever. This movie was trying so hard to do a Conjuring thing here, and I don't really know why. Like, everything that happens in this film could have happened in one location. Like, you didn't need a family element to this movie. They were just doing that to bring Conjuring fans in, I think, at least, or maybe it's because it's based on a true story that I have never read. But all three of the family member characters are completely irrelevant to this film. You could have just had another priest get possessed and do exactly everything else that happened in this movie. It all could have taken place in one spot, and then you could have avoided the unintentionally funny sequence where Russell Crowe is driving on a moped all the way to Spain from Rome. The implication there is so unbelievably funny to me. Like, you know, mopeds, they don't go that fast. Like, 15 miles per hour is like an average on those things. And seeing Russell Crowe slowly go through the Spanish countryside on that thing is the funniest thing I have ever seen on film that was unintentional. Like, just give him a car. Like, just give the guy a car. He's a priest. Maybe he makes money. I don't know. That was the goofiest looking driving sequence I've ever seen. I was the only person laughing in the theater. That's fine. I'll be the only one who laughs at that. I don't care. So in the opening of the film, there's a kid who's apparently possessed by some kind of demon. Russell Crowe exorcises it and then throws the spirit into a pig, which they then shoot in the head. I don't really understand the point of this sequence. So later on in the movie, the little kid is possessed and so is the daughter. And then Russell Crowe is like, put the demon in me. And then it just goes to him from the boy, I guess, but like, wasn't the demon also in the little girl as well? There's this idea that's introduced about halfway through the movie that the demon can possess more than one person at the same time. So like, that completely goes against this whole thing you were setting up with the pig, where it's like, we trapped the demon's soul or whatever in the pig and we shot it in the face. Get wrecked. But like, if the demon could possess two people, why would you put all your eggs in one basket like that, demon? You're not making very good decisions here, demon. I don't know how to feel about this. And the family characters are underdeveloped at best. The kid character doesn't say a word before he's possessed, and then Ralph Ineson's demon voice comes through his mouth later on. And like, that works really well in The Exorcist because you actually get to meet the nice little girl that is Regan. But then, of course, she turns into the pea soup puking hellspawn that you all know and love. But that scary element only is so effective because you get to meet the nice little girl beforehand. You don't get that with the little kid here. For a plot plot point that once again is to this film's detriment. The kid doesn't speak because he's witnessed his dad's murder just in the exact same way that the dad in The Descent is killed too. This movie is just ripping things from other horror films and then mashing them all together and hoping it works. But then it's also based on a true story, so I don't know what the hell's going on here. They take a lot from The Exorcist here. Like, the little boy has like things starting to write on his like stomach. The movie randomly turns into Indiana Jones at the halfway point too. Like, they discover all these hidden relics and artifacts underneath like the gigantic cathedral thing that this family is living in because it was in their family name or whatever. There's so much going on in this movie and half of it doesn't get a resolution either. Like, the family just disappears from the movie after the demons are taken out of their children. They're gone. Like, they're gone. We never see them again. That's it. They set up this whole thing with the little girl in the movie that she's kind of like, she's mean and she doesn't care about her mom. I have to spend the summer in this dumb cathedral. This sucks. It goes nowhere. She's immediately a different character as soon as the demon is introduced. She's like, oh, Mom, I love you so much. I'm so sorry. All set up, no resolution. It's like, what the f? What are we doing with these characters here? I will say, though, the other high point besides Russell Crowe's amazing performance in this film is the final fight with the demons, which I think the only reason I really liked it is because it was just something exciting finally in this movie that wasn't directly ripping off something else. Both of the priests have to fight their own demons in this end sequence, and the one guy kills the demon and it explodes into blood everywhere. And I'm like, okay, all right, movie, I'm digging this. And then Russell Crowe gets rid of his demon by throwing it into this like magma portal back to hell, which was like, okay, once again, you know, VFX and all that, but I don't care. It looked amazing. It looked really good. Then they really sour the punch bowl with this ending that is trying so hard to set up a sequel, and this movie's not getting a sequel, man. After that sequel setup attempt that they have, then they have this whole sequence of Father Gabriel, and he's kind of walking around, and it tells his whole backstory about how he continued to perform exorcisms in real life until his unfortunate death in 2016. But at the very end of that, they say that he wrote a bunch of books, and the books are really good. That's the last thing you read before the credits roll. Who approved that? Who said that? Like, there's so many unintentionally funny things about this. It's like, the books are really good. Like, that's the last thing you read before the credits roll? What? I know that wasn't supposed to be funny, but it was really funny. It just feels like the director screaming at you, like, come on, the books are good, guys. You gotta read these. They're pretty good. I don't know, man. It was a really goofy movie, sometimes intentional, sometimes not intentional. And I think that was really to this film's detriment once again. There's a lot of little things about this movie that it just felt like missed opportunities. To my own shock, this is an R-rated film. Like, they could have done a lot more. This felt like a PG-13 horror movie besides that whole ending sequence that I was talking about. I think the only reason this movie is rated R is because there's some random nudity in the middle of this film, which once again just was unnecessary. It's one of those movies that just barely got that R rating, but probably would have benefited from being PG-13. So I don't know. You cut a few things out of this, it's PG-13 essentially. And I'm not saying like sequences of the movie. I'm saying like a few frames of this movie. You cut that out and it's PG-13. That's an issue right there. Like, if you're gonna make an R-rated film, go all out. Push it to the limits, man. Overall, The Pope's Exorcist gets a 5 out of 10 from me. It's nothing new. It's just The Exorcist again, but in the modern day, and I'm terrified that this is what's going to happen to David Gordon Green's Exorcist in October. Fingers crossed they decide to do something new with an exorcism film for once this October, but for now, we're still just kind of in that same boat. What did you think about The Pope's Exorcist, though? Did you actually really like this film? Did you care for Russell Crowe's performance? Leave me something about it in the comments below. Thank you all so much for watching this review of The Pope's Exorcist. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more horror movie reviews in the future. Please consider supporting me on Patreon if you want to see this channel grow even bigger. Thank you again for watching, and as always, don't forget to kill it out there, y'all.